This happened a few years ago when I was traveling constantly for work. I stayed in hotels so often that they all blended together, and I never really thought twice about my safety. I usually booked whatever was cheapest and closest to my job site. One night, I checked into a small roadside hotel in rural Ohio. It was the kind of place with only one floor, doors facing the parking lot, and a flickering neon sign that buzzed loudly in the dark. The man at the front desk barely spoke, just slid my keycard across the counter and told me my room number.
The room looked normal at first glance. A single bed, a small table, a TV bolted to the wall, and a bathroom that smelled faintly like bleach. I locked the door behind me, dropped my bag, and went to sleep almost immediately. I woke up sometime after midnight feeling strangely alert, like someone had shaken me awake without touching me. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioner. That's when I noticed the sound of footsteps outside, slow and deliberate, stopping right in front of my door. I held my breath, waiting for a knock, but instead I heard a soft scraping noise, like something being dragged across concrete. I sat up and watched the thin line of light under the door. A shadow passed back and forth, lingering far longer than made sense for someone just walking by. Then I heard a whisper. It was quiet, almost drowned out by the AC, but it sounded like someone saying my name. I froze, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would wake the whole motel. I hadn't told anyone my name since checking in. After a long minute, the footsteps moved away. I didn't sleep again that night. In the morning, I noticed deep scratch marks near the bottom of the door, as if something sharp had been dragged across it. I asked the front desk about it, but the man only shrugged and said the previous guest had been rough. I checked out immediately and drove away. But even now, years later, I still wake up sometimes thinking I hear someone whisper my name from the other side of a door.
The second story happened to my cousin while she was on a solo vacation in Arizona. She stayed at a mid-range hotel near the desert, a place with long, carpeted hallways and mirrored walls that reflected endlessly under dim yellow lights. On her first night, she noticed that the room felt colder than it should have been, even with the thermostat turned up. She brushed it off as desert nights being unpredictable and went to sleep. She woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of the bathroom sink running. Half asleep, she assumed she'd forgotten to turn it off, but when she opened her eyes, she realized she was still in bed and the bathroom door was wide open. She watched in confusion as the water slowly shut itself off. Then the mirror above the sink began to fog, even though no one was showering. She said the fog formed words, slowly and shakily, as if traced by an invisible finger. It spelled out, "Do not look under the bed." Her heart started racing. Every instinct told her to do exactly that, but fear kept her frozen. The fog cleared suddenly, and the bathroom went dark. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight, scanning the room. Everything looked normal. After several minutes, she convinced herself she was hallucinating from exhaustion, but as she lay back down, she felt the mattress dip slightly, like someone had sat on the edge of the bed. She screamed and ran out of the room barefoot, spending the rest of the night in the lobby. The hotel staff said no one else had access to her room and suggested stress had caused a vivid dream. She never stayed alone in a hotel again.
The third story comes from a man I met online who shared his experience in a travel forum. He had checked into a historic hotel in Louisiana, known for its old architecture and rumored hauntings. He didn't believe in ghosts and booked it out of curiosity. The hotel had creaky floors, antique furniture, and portraits lining the walls that seemed to follow you with their eyes. His room was on the top floor, at the very end of a narrow hallway. That night, he kept hearing what sounded like furniture being dragged above him, even though there were no rooms on top of his. Around 2 a.m., he heard a knock at his door.
When he looked through the peephole, no one was there. He opened the door to an empty hallway, but noticed wet footprints leading away from his room, as if someone had walked barefoot through water. He shut the door and locked it, unnerved. Minutes later, he heard breathing right behind him, slow, heavy breathing, close to his ear. He spun around, but the room was empty. The breathing stopped instantly. In the morning, hotel staff told him his room used to be part of an old servants' quarters, and that guests often complained about noises and strange sensations. He checked out early and said the hotel refunded him without argument, which scared him more than anything else. The final story happened to me personally during a short stay in a city hotel in Chicago. I arrived late after a delayed flight and was exhausted. The hotel was large, modern, and busy, which made me feel safe. My room was on the 10th floor. I locked the door, put the chain on, and went to bed.
Sometime during the night, I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating. I checked it and saw a notification from the hotel's internal messaging system. It read, "Do not open the door. Someone is pretending to be staff." My blood ran cold. Seconds later, there was a knock. A calm male voice called out, "Housekeeping." I stayed silent, staring at the door. The handle rattled gently, then stopped. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. In the morning, the front desk claimed no such message had been sent and said their system showed no record of it. They insisted it must have been a glitch. But when I checked my phone later, the message was gone completely, like it had never existed. I left that hotel with a deep sense of unease, realizing that sometimes the scariest part of staying in a hotel isn't what you see, but what you're warned about just in time. Since these experiences, I've learned that hotels are strange places. People come and go, histories are buried under fresh paint, and doors don't always keep everything out. And sometimes, the stories that claim to be true are the ones that stay with you the longest, making you double-check every lock and listen closely to every sound in the night.